For the meeting, do you normally leave it on mute?
Yeah, generally we do. Just
Okay.
It helps everybody's audio, but just have to remember to unmute it when you want to speak.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Bennett. You're welcome.
How do I get added to be able to get these all the time?
Okay, who this is?
Oh, this is Nancy Schwinn, and I'm just somebody that's joining the meeting. Dave could not be here today. Dave Delory.
I apologize. I called you Dave before because it's coming up as Dave Delory on my screen, yeah. Nancy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. But how do I get notification of the meeting so that I can go myself?
Just, send me your email, and in the future, I'll add you to the distribution list. I'll send you an agenda.
Okay, that's great. And who do I send the email to?
Okay, my first name would be Robert.
Hold on a minute. I'm just trying to get a.
Yep. Hi, Bennett. Hi, Colette.
Morning. How are you?
Okay, good, thank you.
Good.
Nancy, it's Robert.
Yep.
Dot, and then my last name, Kuzmich.
Kuzmich.
Correct.
Okay.
Like in zebra, M as in Michael, ICH. Yep. Robert Kuzmich at ct.gov.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, all set. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Morning. Hi, Marcia.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm just so excited for tomorrow.
The snow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got it. It's like, really, I don't need one more thing at this point.
I know.
Okay, this too shall pass, right? It's going to get better.
Yep.
Hey, got the disclosure, got the complaint.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
Morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Good morning, this is Pamela.
Hi, Pamela.
Oh, there, that's better.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Mary.
Hi, guys. How are you?
So far, so good.
There we go. Okay. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I was on
Oh, look,
mute.
Colette
Good-
looks like she's someplace very cool.
Yes, before the snow hits, I better get home.
Yes. Good idea.
Good morning, everyone. I apologize. I've been on mute and trying to greet you all. We are now, I think, at a quorum. I just see Jennifer coming in.
Okay.
We'll give it just a couple more minutes. I've got 3 minutes after. Bob, have we heard from anyone in terms of regrets?
No. Well, actually, Nancy Schwinn, I guess, Nancy, you're covering for Dave?
Well, yes, Nancy's here as a guest. She was our host. Her park was our host at Colchester Commons, and Dave
Okay.
sent her the link. So welcome to Nancy. But anyone know about Nancy Palmisano? Is she still recovering?
Yes. Yeah. I spoke with her by email this morning, Bennett, and she asked, I told her to use the link on the agenda, and once I see her, I will, promote her to speak.
Great.
She asked if there was a password, and I told her.
Right. And how about Mark? Mark Asmus.
I'm here. Can you hear me, Bennett?
Oh, yes, there you are. Yeah.
Yep.
He's here. Valencia, can you hear me?
For some reason, you're not listed as a participant. Can you bring him in, Bob?
I see him.
Yep, I see him. Mark
Oh.
Asmus. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
I'm here.
Can
I'm
you see
here
my-
too.
Can you see my face? Because I can only hear
No,
you.
can't see your pretty face, Mark.
No.
Or
No,
Nancy.
nor are you listed as a,
Yeah, because it won't let me click on my camera to even allow me to do video.
Me either, Bennett. I can't click on a camera either.
Okay,
but
hold on.
I am here.
Or
Bob's
me.
gonna-
Mark.
Bob's going to elevate you if you hold on a
All right.
second.
I just elevated Mark to,
There he is. He showed
Mark
up.
is panelist now. He should be all set.
And
Nancy,
Valencia's here as well. Excellent.
I just promoted Nancy.
Bob
Valencia,
has,
can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you and
Okay, now you should be able to.
think I was
Everybody's a
having
panelist.
oh, that's better.
Everybody's a panelist, right? So you should all,
Now you can
there we
see
go.
me.
Hi, Valencia.
I'm here.
several
I'm
of you,
here. I'm here, Bob, but my picture's not. That's okay.
No, we can't see Nancy or
Is that
Dave
Nancy?
or Pamela. or
Hang on.
several of you have your cameras turned off. So,
No, mine's on.
hi Nancy, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks.
Glad to hear that. I think we are pretty much all here, and it is now 6 after, so I'd like to get us started. I do have some sad news to share. Rafi is not able to join us today because his longtime partner Jill died very suddenly this week. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, he very much wanted to be here, but I told him I would fill him in afterwards.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
Bennett,
Yeah.
I just got an email. Hang on, I'm just, I got an email from Nancy. It says she is on the call.
Great. Welcome, Nancy. I
I
hope
don't know what else.
feeling better.
Thanks, Bennett.
Are you back in commission or still recuperating?
A little bit of both.
Well, I hope it's not much longer. I have not heard from Al. I'm surprised he's not here. He usually is, or lets us know. So I can reach out to him afterwards. I would like to get us started. Oh, there you are.
But
Hooray.
now
Hey, Nance.
Hi.
Great. Excellent. So we do have a quorum. I do want to, for those who come in a little later, Nancy Schwinn from Colchester Common is here. And we will have a chance to hear from her a little bit later, especially for those of you who are unable to make the virtual tour of the park or the virtual discussion with the park board at Colchester Common. Our first order of business for today is the approval of the minutes of September 16. Can I have a motion?
make a motion, Bennett.
Who's speaking? Just identify yourself for Bob.
Marcia, Stem.
Marcia, thank you. And a second, please.
You've got mail.
Who was the second?
Can someone please second the motion to approve the minutes of September 16?
They all seem to be muted, Bennett.
I'll second.
I second.
Who was that?
Colette.
Colette? Okay.
Thank you so much. Do we have any corrections or additions to the minutes? If not, all in favor, aye. Aye. Minutes
Aye.
are approved. I would like to just check on some of our guests this morning. Nancy, Nancy Schwinn, are you with us for the duration of the meeting?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Great. Okay, then we will not hear from you right away. And Pamela, would you like to do your report early, or do you want to stick around?
That would be perfect because I have another training that I've got on another device, so that'll be excellent. Good morning,
Fantastic.
yes. And Janita Hamill won't be present, so I'll just do all of the reporting. So good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, I'm Pamela Brown, Director of Investigations. And we do have a report that we'd like to submit to you, which you may have already received a copy. However, we are experiencing a glitch with our system and we're working with our IT department. So perhaps the meeting at the next quarter, you will find that it represents what you're looking for. So I'll just go to the report. Does anyone have any questions at this point, if you've had a chance to review it?
I'm sorry, is this the report regarding the complaints?
Yes.
Maybe you could just give a little synopsis. I looked at it last night. It just seemed to listing basically from all of one property, right?
Correct. The majority of the complaints are from the one
Except for-
property, which is, I can talk about some of those cases because some are closed, some are still open. But it is my understanding, you know, this has been brought forth before. We've actually discussed this before the board, I believe the last meeting, which is Riverside. And there was complaints about a rodent problem. However, after initial investigation, it was discovered that one of the tenants had a barrel of fish, which brought forth the river rats onto the property. And so they were having a problem with that. The property manager has been cooperating. There were some other issues brought forth. However, a lot of the complaints that are down below, you will see on the report, were withdrawn by the tenants because they said there was one individual there that was actually soliciting complaints and actually handing out complaint forms and having them send them in to us. But once we spoke with them, they said they wanted to those individuals wanted to remove their names from being a part of the complaint. So those are the closed ones that I'm looking at.
Okay.
The rest of them are open. Again, most of those are from the same property. Smith Trailer, which is an open one. That's an ongoing investigation, mostly with, dispute between resident and tenant. And then we have the other, which is at line 10, which is also another open complaint, G&W Management.
All right, so perhaps this would be an appropriate time to share with the council discussion that Pamela and Julianne, who's the head of the legal department, and I had in person, well, by phone and by email about reporting of complaints to the council. The department's policy is not to discuss the details of individual open complaints. They do provide us the written listing, which is, as Pamela said, they're in the process of making some changes to. With regard to the subject matter, while the department will not share with us the details of open complaints specific to any park, did agree that they would give us a de-identified summary of the issues related to complaints that have come in since our last meeting. Typically, these are, we meet quarterly, so we're looking at basically 3 months every time we meet. So, Pamela, do you have anything you can share with us just about the type of complaint that you've been seeing over the last 3 months?
Trying to unmute myself. So actually my staff is, I have actually just two, one full-time, one part-time inspector for the mobile home park renewals, which we have to get out and look at all 196 of those. So we will be seeing, it's just the typical, the road work, the trees. Usually for most parks, there are a lot of, this is going to be at least, there's one, usually a violation found, okay, if it was trees, but hopefully that we've gotten out there last year, that we'll see a lot of the corrections done this year. However, I am advising my staff where we see conditions that are deplorable to the living conditions of the residents, that we are going to be a little bit more aggressive and getting those, we'll give them an opportunity to make some changes, but expediting those up to legal. That's our goal, is to keep the properties as pleasant for the residents as possible and work within our authority. So when I went out, I did a lot of these myself. I think I did 20 some odd inspections myself, and I found some to be horrendous, and we've gotten letters out, but we're looking at last year's inspections and comparing them to what we see this year, and hopefully changes have been made. If not, then those will be fast tracked for our legal department.
Pamela, I have a question.
Sure.
So you went out and did inspections, which, you did our parks. And so you said you're going to compare them, but wouldn't those parks have already had to submit corrective action prior to the next inspection?
Yes, they would have, but we're still going to be looking at what issues were found. So for example, maybe there was a pothole and maybe they filled in with gravel, and we go back there this year, they showed us, yeah, they patched it, but now that pothole is still existent. It's, we've had rains and what have you. So we're going to be looking maybe for a more permanent solution to that problem. Or maybe there was trash everywhere, and they showed us, yeah, they got it cleaned up, but the overall condition of the park is still the same, that, the management is not out there to make sure that, there's,
Okay.
weeds are cut, clutter's not everywhere. So that's the things that we're going to look at, the overall condition.
Yep, that's a good point. So my second question is, So we all submitted online to have our renewals done, and we paid, I think I paid last month in November to have all my licenses renewed, and you haven't, obviously haven't done the inspections yet. The problem for guys like us is that my mortgages, my lenders require me to have a current license for me not to be out of compliance. And so how is it that you guys are going to get 192 inspections to get the licenses back to all of us in the next 2 weeks? Because I'm going to
Because
be
you are declared active in renewal. So your license is technically active. It's just subject to an inspection. If you go to the website, the external website that the public sees, it would say active next to your credential.
okay.
So,
But
and then you get the certificate issued once the inspection has been completed. So what I did last year is I pulled in people from different divisions to get it all done. And we can only move as quickly as possible. We actually put forth, I know through the commissioner, proposals to make it changes because we actually see a lot of these parks throughout the year. But however, the law states, the statute states that we must inspect on renewal. So we've been out there in July, but we received the renewal in December, we still have to go out and re-inspect that park. But you are considered to be active. It's just pending the inspection.
okay.
And once we inspect, you get a approval. You're not going to not receive your credential because that has to be done through an administrative action. You'll just either pass or fail the inspection, and then once we see it, your credential gets printed, and you get notice of pass or fail.
Okay, thank you.
Pamela, this is Mark Berkowitz. A quick question regarding, you mentioned if somebody has a pothole that wasn't filled in or filled in correctly, would that stop you from issuing a renewal or certificate license?
No, the certificate is going to be issued once we have seen it. And then we work with the park owner or managers to get whatever the violations were fixed. And we get a lot of cooperation. So it's normally not a big deal. They get a period of time to make corrections. And if not, then we may send that up to legal. So it does not hold back once we see it, the credential is issued, but you are considered to be active. If that answers your question.
I think so, yeah.
Valencia, this is Bennett. Could you just clarify for me, how many inspections for renewal have you completed at this point?
That's the day-to-day where Janita Hamill comes in. The last I know that we had on for our list, because we run a spreadsheet. So we had 128 renewals thus far. So they've been actively, like I said, I have 2 inspectors out. And then after the first of the year, I pull in my wider team, which is from all of the different units that we have, people who have had experience with mobile home parks in the past, such as myself. And we all try to do as much as we possibly can to get this Herculean task done. Thus far, we've had 128 people send in their renewals. And we're working on that now.
Okay. And you mentioned that when you found truly extraordinary conditions, you were expediting that process and elevating sooner. Can you just roughly tell us how many parks that's occurred in so far?
Again, that's a day-to-day activity that Janita Hamill handles. Of course, I'm director, I'm managing the program. Initially what happens is, just to go over the normal process, an inspection occurs. The inspector goes out, we have a new mobile app that we use. They take photographs, they get to type in their their findings, and that report gets emailed immediately to the property manager or the park owner. The credential gets issued. They're given a period of time, because then we send a follow-up letter, certified mail. You have a period of time, depending upon what it is, to acknowledge the letter of violation and also make repairs. And then usually the owners will write to us, okay, I'm having someone out to, pave the driveway, or I'm having someone out to cut the trees. And they'll send us the proposals. We just ask for documentation, show us that you're doing something. In some cases, we don't receive responses. In those cases, when we don't, if it was reasonable time, 30 days, then we don't hear anything, then we're going to write up the letter of violation. The report gets written and it goes to legal.
I have a question. This is Marcia Stem. I'm a little confused. So I think what you're telling me is last December, when I renewed, you had to do an inspection upon renewal for my license, correct?
Correct.
And then during the year, you went and did another inspection on the property. And now it's a year later and I need pretty much a third inspection in a 12-month period on the same property because I'm renewing again?
Because the statute requires that we inspect all parks upon receipt of a renewal. So therefore, we have to go back out once we receive the renewal. And we have made proposals for legislative changes to remove that so that we can continue with our random inspection so that we will hit the parks over a period of time throughout the course of the year, rather than going in December, January.
Right.
For the renewal. So we're waiting for that change. Has to occur legislatively. We can't until such time. That's the statute. That's what we have to abide by.
I see. So then why are we bothering to do the inspection during the year when you're going to do it again upon renewal?
Because we do random inspections. So we may do random inspections. It may be inspection upon receipt of a complaint. We may do an inspection to make sure that the work that we found in January or December was done. So for example, if we see trees hanging over a unit in January, that park owner may not be able to get an arborist out until March, April, May, whatever it is. And so that's more likely going to occur in the spring. So we were going to probably go back out there if there's a lot of work that needs to be done to verify that that work was actually performed. Same as for a driveway. Asphalt plants close in December. They may not be able to make a full driveway repair. Maybe they can fill it with some gravel, but a driveway is very likely going to be repaired in the spring or the summer. So we may have to go out and verify that that work has been done, especially if we have one of the trouble parks. We want to make sure that they are on top of what they should be doing.
I understand that part.
Yeah, Marcia, don't forget, they had a lot of catch up to do, and I don't think that they had done all the inspections. So I think this year it seemed like it was a little bit recent, and then they're doing it again in December because I think they hadn't been able to get out and do them all. So I think they were doing the right thing by trying to get out there and getting them all done. And then just so happens it's already up for renewal. So now they're trying to stick to the law, which makes a lot of sense. My feeling is if you can't do it the way you want to, Pamela, maybe you should extend them to 18 months. Extend some of them to 18 months, so you're doing inspections twice a year, so you're not doing all of them at once. So some parks will be maybe inspected in June, and then the other parks in December, and then they're staggered, so you're not trying to do 192 in December.
Right. So I took over the mobile home parks in 2018. Prior to my directorship, it was not being done as to the letter of the law. And we have to abide by the statute. So I can't just say to my staff, well, let's do half today and half. We have to make sure that we're in compliance with the statute. So the commissioner is well aware of our challenges, especially with our staffing of, maybe having one full-time and a part-time, and then I have to create a team. So however, we know that the session was delayed. And so hopefully this will get through and those changes will be made. So
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that you just do it. I'm saying is that's one of the things you could push for in the change is to stagger them so they're not all done at the same time.
Yes, and Leslie O'Brien, our legislative liaison, has already written up a proposal for that. So we're just waiting for the okay to do it and the statute to be changed. So once that's done, that's going to give a lot of relief to my staff, because also the inspectors are doing more than just mobile home parks. Keith Lombardi, as you know, he's also responsible for architects, engineers. He's a lot of other responsibilities, but we have to do what we have to do.
Pamela, this is Bennett.
Wow.
I would like to just get back to this issue of where there are very serious violations found during this inspection. And I understand that you don't have the details in front of you, but do you have a rough sense of the 128 or 129 parks? How many had such conditions that required elevating it to legal?
Again, we are just starting because of renewals. I don't have a number for you for that, because as you know, that most of the renewals, their licenses expire at the end of this month. So we're just starting to see an influx of the renewals coming in. So December, people are getting the park owners are getting their checks in. So I don't have a sense of, I haven't heard from my staff that there's a major issue. Right now it's more of a routine, but then that's a day-to-day thing that Janita, if she did have something of that nature, it would definitely have been brought to my attention, but I haven't heard anything. And again, we're probably since December 1st have received those 128 cases. It was 128 as of Monday.
I got it. Just to clarify, so what you're saying is it's sort of a new procedure that's in place, but you've not yet had any instances where an inspection revealed a very serious situation that needed to be elevated immediately.
To this date, yes, correct.
Great, thank you. And my prior question, I was actually not about inspections, but just with regard to complaints. If you can just give us a summary without identifying parks of what the types of issues are that you've encountered in the last 3 months.
Sure. So normally it's just really the routine. We have some lease issues, landlord tenant disputes, complaints come forth because someone's being evicted. Nothing really major, just routine complaints. So they're not, we see a lot, but they're nothing that stands out. You are aware of the Riverview complaints. I think that one had some media involvement, got a lot of attention, but then most of the complainants withdrew and said, I just went along with it because we felt pressured to file a complaint about the rodent problem. It turned out that according to, and I can only speak for the closed ones, the ones that have been withdrawn, that the individual who was soliciting the complaint was actually the one who was asked, who had the violation. He was the one with the fish that he was using, the raw fish using on his garden, which caused the rodents, the river rats, to come and take over somewhat the property.
Got it.
So outside of that, that's the only unique one that we have. But even then, rodent problems aren't really unusual for
Great.
someone to complain about.
I appreciate it. So again, just to clarify for the rest of the council, the discussion we had was trying to respect the fact that a complaint is just an allegation, and until there's been an inspection, there's no possible finding. So not wishing to create an impression that any particular park is committing a violation of the statute, we were looking for a way to, without knowing the identity, just know what the type of issue is so that we can keep track as a council to see if there's any new issue that perhaps raises a policy concern, if we're seeing a host of similar issues that we need to be aware of going on out in the field, that sort of thing. And it sounds like over the last quarter, other than this issue with the river rat, nothing that we need to be concerned about has occurred. So
Correct. They've been pretty much routine.
Great. I appreciate that. Thank you. If there are no further questions, I think we can, again, invite you to stay if you can, but if not, we understand. So.
Thank you. Yes, I will have to pop back on to my training. We're having training about testifying and hearing, so I'd like to participate in that. So I wish all of you well, stay healthy and safe during this time.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank
Have a
you
good
so much.
holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd now like to turn to Valencia and Colette to give us an update on the two, or depending on how you count, 2.5 programs at CHFA, both the park purchase and the individual home purchase programs, as well as the new refinance program that we talked about last time.
Good
So,
morning. This is Valencia. Good morning, everyone. Paul, Colette, if you don't mind, I'd like to go first because I have to jump off for another meeting also. But I do want to give you an update. I think we have really good news. The Board of Directors did approve the mobile home refinancing program. And so we are moving forward with launching the program. We expect to be able to launch by the end of January. And by way of an update, when we spoke last time, I didn't know what the actual amount of funds were that were going to be allocated towards that program. I have since found out that we have $6 million. So there is a finite amount, but it is a fair amount, and we're really excited about getting it done. I have had my first meeting with C4C, and we talked about they're getting ready. They believe that they'll be able to do it with us by the end of January. We spoke about capacity issues because if we get a lot of traction with the program, like we're hoping, I wanted to make sure that they would be able to process. They believe that they have the staff to be able to do it, and if we need to, they are prepared to hire additional staff, though that could take a little time because of the requirements of the staff that would be needed in order to be able to offer the program. They'd have to have their NMLS and be approved to originate the loans as well. One of the issues I wanted to talk to the council about is how we're going to try to manage the applicant pool for the program. We don't want any one park actually being able to come in and take all of the loans. We have $6 million. It sounds like a lot of money, but it is only going to go so far. So we're coming up with criteria for screening to make sure that we can reach the greatest number of people with the greatest need. So one of the things that we're going to limit the program to is we'll only do the refinancing in mobile home parks that have at least 50% owner occupancy. So what I understand, most parks are well above that, so there shouldn't be an issue. But if a park doesn't have at least 50% of the people in the park as owners, we're not going to be able to do a refinance in that park. One of the other things is we are going to need for the property that's being financed to have a economic remaining life of at least 20 years because it's got to run at least the term of the loan. I think we talked about that a little bit in the last meeting. We're looking at trying to limit the number of units that we'll do in any one park so that the larger parks don't get the bulk of the opportunity. So one of the things that I would need from the council, if you could help me, is to provide me with a list of the parks and the number of units in the parks so that I could then back into a reasonable number that we can apply to all parks. It could be that we would say we won't do more than 5 in any one complex or more than 10 in any one complex. I don't know what that number should be because I don't know those numbers. So if you could get that to me, that would be great.
Valencia, I'm going to
mhm.
suggest that the department, DCP, needs to be your partner in this, and they can provide you with a list of the parks, the number of units, a number occupied, who the owner is, and address and all of that, so that not only will you have the data, but you'll be able to reach out to the parks, and presumably park owners would be happy to help publicize the program.
Thank you.
and-
That's great. I will do that. I wasn't really sure what the easiest and quickest way to get the data would be. So,
Right. Well,
we'll do
one
that.
one unfortunate thing is I really don't know uh, who in the department would feel they had the responsibility for that. We just heard from Pamela, who's the director of inspections and complaints, and so she's not the appropriate person. I had expected to have one of the attorneys here, and she wouldn't be the appropriate person. I'm thinking that this really needs to go to the commissioner's office, because DCP does not see itself in the promotion business, but clearly recognize that that's a critical aspect of the work. And it'd be nice to have someone who could be your partner. And I'm also thinking DOH. Also, Jennifer, I know, is on the call, Jennifer Ponte, and perhaps she can help you there. And Dave Delory, who's I believe an officer of the Residents Alliance, is not here, but Nancy Schwinn from Colchester Common, I believe, is covering for Dave. So we could rely on the Residents Alliance, and I'm assuming Mark, the Park Owners Association, would also be willing to help in getting the word out.
We maintain a list, right, Nancy, that, it surely may not say it's 100%, but I'm sure it's pretty good to at least give her an idea of how many parks and how many units. We may not be 100% on the ownership on every park, but wouldn't we be able to share at least the number of parks, the number of units?
Well, we only have that for our members, so that wouldn't be a comprehensive list.
Right, but in terms of promoting the
Oh,
program.
we could promote it. We could use our newsletter or whatever, however you want to do it to promote it, but I wouldn't consider our list of park owners.
So I think I might have a list that I pulled from the DCP site.
That's the
Yeah.
best site to get it from, because
Yeah,
that's all the licensed parks in the state.
Yeah,
right.
we pulled a list of the licensed parks, but it didn't have the number of units. And maybe there's another list that we.
Pamela can definitely give you that. Yeah, Pamela can definitely give you that. But I
Yeah.
would strongly encourage, in fact, I'll undertake to find a contact for you.
I appreciate that. So, we
And,
will definitely. Mhm.
I was also hoping that Jennifer, you can please speak up, but when we were working some time ago on the park purchase program, DCP, CHFA, and DOH had all agreed to carry on their websites some basic information about it and contact information. I wonder if we can get the three agencies to do the same thing. Jennifer, can you help us out here, or tell us who Valencia might be in touch with at DOH? Jennifer, are you still with us? Well, I'm not hearing or seeing Jennifer at the moment, but I can follow up with her as
Okay.
well.
Well, and we can reach out as well. I will wait to hear from you with regards to a potential contact person. But going forward, we're going to continue. We will be putting information on the website, on Chapel's website and on C4C's website for sure, once everything is in place. The only other thing that I wanted to share is that any of the units that we refinance, if they could have a need for minor repairs, but they can't need anything that is major or has to do with health and safety. So those are basically the restrictions. The other thing is we wanted to make sure that we're able to help people who have the greatest need. So we're looking at setting a interest rate for cap for the people who are eligible to apply. We did a little research and we found out that in 2019, the average interest rate was 6% or more. So we're going to require any of the applicants that we refinance to have a interest rate of at least 6% or higher. And then they'll be eligible to refinance to the 1%. We are going to offer the program at 1% still. So it will be a really good opportunity. We are also restricting it to applicants who have at least 5 years remaining on their current note. So if they've already paid, I mean, most people who pay down to less than 5 years are not going to want to refinance anyway, but they have to have at least 5 years remaining. Other than that, on the,
Let's, if you look in the chat, Jennifer just responded that you should contact Michael Santoro at DOH.
Oh, thank you.
I've got a question I'll mention.
Uh-huh.
On your, so they're going to go out there and do another appraisal and the refinancing for the refi?
Yes.
Okay. So it's got to be what, FHA guidelines you're using?
We are gonna underwrite it to mostly FHA guidelines because they are most flexible, but we're not requiring an FHA appraisal. It can be a regular standard Fannie Mae appraisal. We understand that FHA has the most flexibilities, so we're leaning that way in terms of how we're going to evaluate the applicant.
Is this based on applicant, or do you have completely guidelines now? I mean, you've got the formal guidelines of what they have to qualify for, such as they can't be in arrears in their current mortgage, or I mean, you have certain things.
Yes, we're putting the guidelines together now. I'm giving you a high-level overview of the initial restrictions for screening, but we will come back and give you the complete guidelines. But yes, they do have to be current.
Valencia, after our last meeting with CHFA on this, Rafi and I met with your counsel to resolve a couple of legal concerns. My understanding is that those have been resolved.
They have been resolved. So
Great.
we're based on the information that you spoke to Attorney Rob Hicks.
Correct.
And he advised us of the change in language that we should implement so that we're not requesting documentation that's prohibitive, and that's what we're doing.
Okay, and could you send me whatever current draft you have that reflects those changes?
Sure.
I'd appreciate it, and I'll get that out to the council. And if any further issues come up, don't hesitate to contact us. I did want to share with you, and I should probably do it with him, that one of the questions involves your right to stand in the shoes of the resident in the event of an eviction. We went over the case law with him and reassured him on that. There's also a provision that I had forgotten about in the statutorily required disclosure statement that addresses that issue as well. So I'll forward that to him just so he can have that additional level of comfort.
He would really appreciate that. Just to give you complete update, when we met with C4C, we also discussed reactivating the mobile home purchase program. And we expect that we're going to do them both at the same time. So you'll be getting an additional update on that program as well as we go forward.
That'd be great. And again, if you can get us the summary of the structure and requirements on that revised program. And then perhaps if need be, we can have a follow-up phone call as well before that gets released. That would be great.
Absolutely. So that's really all I have, unless you have other questions, guys.
That's fantastic news. Thank you again so much. This is so far beyond what we had expected that we're just delighted. And this is truly a wonderful opportunity for folks who've been struggling with ridiculously high interest payments, and
Yeah.
could be a real game changer for the for
Yeah,
everybody
thank you. I just
involved.
have one question. I think you just said it, but maybe I just wanted to reiterate that. Are you feeling that the next program, which will be for first-time home buyers, that this will be a program that you'll be working on now that once the refinancing is sort of in place?
Actually, we have an existing program for first-time home buyers in the mobile home park that we had run for several years that sunset because of some difficulty. We're going to reenact it and remove the obstacles that were prohibiting the program from going forward before. So we don't have to start from scratch, basically, is what I'm saying. And yes, we're going to re-implement that program at the same time that we implement the refinancing program. So there'll be an opportunity for both new homeowners and existing homeowners.
And
That'll
what
be,
about the
well,
budget? What about the
that's
budget?
awesome.
So if you have a $6 million budget for the refinance, do you know what the budget is for new home buyers?
Well, we don't have a budget for the new home buyers because they are eligible to apply just like any other buyer who's purchasing along with CHAPA mortgage loan financing. So it's just open.
Wow, that's
So
great.
That'll be awesome. And we'll be able to, will you be able to, when will we be able to get some promo material on that we could use?
We are working on it right now.
Okay. Well, no, I understand. I appreciate that very
Those
much.
are awesome. Thank you so much.
That would be great. Really
You're
make a
so
difference.
welcome.
Thank you.
Would
You're
that be
very,
the-
very welcome.
Would that be the same guidelines as residential? Is that what you're doing?
Mostly, we haven't really changed the guidelines, and it is the same. They'd have to be within our income and sales price limits. They have to be first-time home buyers. They can't own any other property. Nothing new or elaborate. The most important thing that we did was to eliminate the need for the title search. We're not going to be requiring the title anymore. And that was a really big problem in terms of being able to get the loans done because of the annual renewable leases. We're changing the requirement of what we will accept. And I don't want to say it off the top of my head because it's kind of legalese and I don't think I'd say it right. So, but it is less restrictive, I can tell you that. And it will work.
Super. I don't want to hold you. I know you have to go, but one issue we did raise with you in our prior conversation was the difficulty with that restriction to first-time buyers when you have seniors who are downsizing. And is there any discussion about trying to find a way to address that population?
That we are looking at that, but we haven't actually tackled that yet. We're just trying to get back up and running. But that is on my agenda to address, and I'm sure I'll have information for you going forward.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. That's
You're
great
very
news.
welcome.
Great
So-
news.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, everybody. Have a wonderful holiday and be safe.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Valencia. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You also.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Colette, that's a hard act to follow, but do you have?
I don't know if I'll be able to follow that the same way, but we are still working on our park purchase program.
Really, stop it.
We are,
Someone needs to mute, please.
so we continue to have our meetings with CDI, and that's been really a great partnership. They've been really valuable partner to help us kind of really wrap our heads around how these.
Excuse
I'm on a
me.
Zoom meeting. Thank you so much. All right.
Excuse me.
All right, okay, let me start over here. So we continue to have our conversations with CDI. That has been a really productive and valuable relationship. They've really helped us to understand and wrap our heads around how these park purchase programs for resident-owned communities happen and come to fruition. So we are actively updating our program. I would hope that we would be able to have a draft available for review before our next meeting. And I can just be in touch with you, Bennett. You know, I'm assuming if I, provide the draft, and we can set up a separate meeting for those who are interested to kind of talk through any comments that folks have. But that's our goal at this point, is that we would have something to share before the next meeting.
That's fantastic. Yes, thank you. I'd be happy to circulate something to the members of the committee and to the whole council for that matter, get feedback and provide that to you in writing before we, maybe had a call to follow up.
Okay.
As we did with the other program, I think that was highly productive. So yeah, again, that's marvelous news. It's, I don't know, we're gonna have to create a Hero of the Year award from the council and give it to CHFA.
I think Valencia is ahead of me, but that sounds good.
Yeah, you folks have been just incredible, way beyond our expectations. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Sure.
I had expected to have Cynthia from the legal department join us today. I had asked for an update on our two favorite parks and Country Mobile and Oak Ridge Gardens, and unfortunately she's not here.
Well, it looks like she's here. She's just
Oh, is
muted.
she?
Well, I
you
have her
are
on
here,
my
Cynthia.
screen, or I
I
have her-
apologize. I apologize,
Well-
Cynthia, you are there. Forgive me. Can you,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
actually
here. I
gonna
just
ask you
joined
to-
another meeting. Oh, okay.
she joined another meeting, is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm getting these notes of stop. And then she said, I'm having trouble with my
No other
audio.
audio.
No, I just joined after another meeting. I don't know what that means. Okay.
Okay, so
She's
you're-
muted.
you are
Yeah.
muted, Cynthia, if you're trying to talk.
I will send out an email afterwards.
Okay. So does that mean you're leaving us, or are you still here? Because I was going to ask you briefly. Audio
She says
not
her
working.
audio's
I
not
understand. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Well, listen, I sorry for your difficulties. I was going to ask you also to just talk briefly about the disclosure statement, but I will do that. And if I misspeak, you can correct me in the chat. But we did, at our last meeting, approve the revision to the disclosure statement. I submitted that to the department. Cynthia and Julianne reviewed it. They had some very minor changes to the language in it. And together we worked out that the disclosure statement will be, the revised statement will be published on the licensing page, which is where it currently resides, but also on our mobile homepage for residents, because I think residents would have had a very difficult time finding it. There wasn't even a link from our page to it. And there's a little introduction that precedes the disclosure statement, stating that while it's required by law to be given out prior to the signing of the first lease by a new resident, that the department strongly encouraged that it be handed out at an earlier stage when the park owner first becomes aware that there's a sale possible or pending, so that the prospective purchaser is fully informed before signing the agreement for the sale. That'd be most useful. And a similar advisement is given to prospective purchasers and park residents to request a copy of the disclosure statement at the earliest point in the process. So Cynthia, if you wouldn't mind just letting us know how long you think it'll take before the department is able to post it in those two locations, so we can be on the lookout for it. I did send a copy of a clean copy of the final version to all members, I believe yesterday. If not yesterday, then it was Monday. Oh, great. So Cynthia says it should be up by next week. So we will look forward to that. I think the only other item we had on our agenda, if Nancy is still with us, Nancy Schwind from Colchester Commons. Nancy organized our meeting with the board of Colchester Common shortly after our last meeting. I believe it was like the first week in October. I know many of you were able to attend. It was and it was done. The impetus for it really was to provide our friends at CHFA with a perspective on what it took to for residents to purchase and maintain a park. We also had our Commissioner Siegel from DCP, and we were supposed to have the DOH Commissioner, and I forget, Jennifer, whether she was at the end of the day able to join us or not.
She was there.
She was there. Okay. So yeah, so it was a trifecta, and by all accounts, and I do want to give credit to Dave Delory and to Nancy Schwinn, who really worked hard at organizing this. And alas, I think Nancy was sick on that day and was not able to be present, but Colette did record it, and we provided the recording to the Colchester Commons board and to any of the council members who requested it because they were unable to attend. So I did want to just sort of briefly get feedback from Nancy about her board's view of how it went. I think the fact that she's here today speaks volumes. We're delighted to have made that connection. And my understanding, Nancy, is that you plan to be a regular attendee. So
I do. I really enjoyed this meeting. I didn't know what it was going to be about, and it was wonderful to hear that they have appropriated $6 million for the program. The meeting went very, very well, and the minutes that the video that you sent was shown to all the board members, and they were very impressed. The one thing that they mentioned to me is that we have 108 acres here, not 100. So
wow.
I was supposed to tell you that. But other than that, I think everything went well, and we're still hoping that a lot more residents will buy their park. It's hard work, but it's well worth it to own your own park and run your own park.
Right. And is your offer of a in-person tour still open when the pandemic has passed or we're all vaccinated?
Most certainly. And even if you wanted to just drive through anytime, you're more than welcome.
I encourage folks to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And at the beginning of the meeting, we did make arrangements for Nancy to get notice of our meetings. And so she will be welcome to join us whenever she's available.
Is it possible to get copies of your minutes?
Bob, can you provide that when you get Nancy's email? Send her the
Sure.
minutes,
Yep.
last year's worth of minutes.
Last year's worth, sure.
I think they're posted on the.
They're all posted online, yeah.
Oh, just give her the link then. That's great.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're all
thank you.
online. Sure.
Thank you very much.
Super.
welcome.
Colette, did you want to just give a brief reaction from CHFA?
Sure. I mean, it was, we found a lot about you in it, and it was really, I think that dog doesn't like my voice. But
Not personal.
it was first of all, my immediate impression was those folks are superstars. I mean, they just what they have accomplished and what they continue to accomplish was just really impressive. So it was great to kind of hear their perspective and how they've evolved, because that's not something that happens overnight. So it definitely gave us a good perspective of all that goes into a resident-owned community. I can say that from a financing perspective, you know, the only piece that gave us pause was, you know, and I think, I believe CDI requires a management company as well, but as you could tell from that conversation, it took years to get to that level of capacity that they have now. So it's important, I think we'll continue to require that they have a management company, especially at the onset. But yeah, it was a really good opportunity for us to really speak to folks that obviously have been through it. And again, those folks are amazing. They've pulled off a pretty amazing community. It sounds like a really special place.
Great. Thank you. And Jennifer, any reaction from DOH? Jennifer, if you are still there, we cannot hear you. Well, okay, that concludes our agenda. I will follow up and send you all various documents that come in from CHFA. I will also find us a contact at DCP to help promote the CHFA programs. And I think that's it for me. Anyone have any new issues they want to? Oh, Jennifer's microphone is not working. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to share them in the chat, and everyone will be able to see them. Thank you. Anyone else have any new business to bring up?
No,
If
let's pray
not,
for- let's pray
I'm
for
sorry,
vaccines.
please go ahead.
No, let's pray for vaccines for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Not a moment too soon.
Yep, let's get this over with and move on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Welcome the day, and I hope you all stay safe and enjoy the holidays. And we'll
You
see
too.
you.
You also, thank you.
We'll see you in the late winter when the pandemic is, I hope, on its way out. So
Awesome.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Happy holidays.
Thank you,
Happy
you too.
holidays.
Have
Be
a nice
well.
holiday.
Holidays.
Happy holiday.